Hey, welcome everybody. We have Gresham here for Blue 16 Media, and he is also a paid ad specialist. So I'm super excited to have him on today. We're going to be talking about SEO and some of the things that go into making paid ads work. So welcome, Gresham. Please tell us a bit about yourself.
Ruth, super excited to be here. And yeah, a lot of what we do goes hand in hand with paid ads just because it's like a whole ecosystem of the things that, you do. But with Blue 16 Media, we focus on web design support, SEO services, really focusing on building that foundation, which is important to kind of go in line with all the paid ads, all the other part of the world. But been in business about 10 years. I'm based out of the Washington, D.C. area. And our goal, because at the end of the day, people can't buy or frequent or patronize your business if they don't know anything about it. So we're trying to help get your name out there.
Awesome. So go ahead then. Like SEO is really interesting. Now I'm probably like most of the viewers. I know what it is. I know keywords. I do some of that on my website. Honestly, I don't really focus on it, but I know I should. So I want to hear all about it and give us some tips in the bigger picture of like what people don't know about SEO and why it's important.
Yeah, so SEO stands for search engine optimization. One of the things that I usually talk about is obviously the biggest search engine. If you can't find something, you should Google it and all of those things. But what has been changing a lot more, as we're recording, but also in the future, is that you can start to optimize other aspects of your digital marketing. So there's search features within YouTube, which is owned by Google. So people demographics, people are actually searching on TikTok as well too, which is also a really big search engine. But Google is also like kind of crawling those searches that people have. But really, to be very simplistic, what SEO is one of the videos that I've seen is it's pretty much like going to your local library. When you go to your local library, you're looking for a specific book. And you go and you talk to the librarian. The librarian has a whole catalog of where these things are, and then they find the exact book that you're looking for. That's what you're doing every time you're searching. You have a specific search, whether it be like a pizza place that you're looking or potentially you're trying to DIY or find it, and you're potentially like for the washer, I put in the exact brand, the exact name, and how to fix whatever the issue was. So the kind of beautiful thing about SEO is over the years and over time, people have gotten a lot more sophisticated in what they ask. So it's not just sometimes keywords. Sometimes it's a full all out sentence, maybe even a bum. But what happens is when you type that into Google, what it does is it returns search engine results. And these results are actually what Google believes to be the answer to the question that you're asking or the thing that you're looking for, or some type of, at the end of the day, Google wants to create some type of action based off of the search results that are coming. So when it tries to find that answer, it wants to define as quickly as possible. So what you should know if you're a business owner, if you're somebody that's thinking about marketing your website, or even if you're a marketing professional, just to be more aware about like what SEO is understand that there's certain things that you can do to optimize your website as a whole. Now, when Google returns the results and say, hey, this is a really good answer, this is the first answer you should see, it can be based off, I should say, on hundreds of different results. And some of those results that are important, of course, vary. The more competitive those searches are, the more those different, results important, or factors, they even call them, to return that result. But at the end of the day, one of the things that I think is one of the biggest misconceptions is people forget that Google is in the business of helping people define what they're looking for as accurately as possible. So a lot of these algorithm changes, a lot of these updates that happen, especially for Google, is Google making sure that they are returning quality results. If I'm in the DC area and I do a search for a pizza place and a pizza place shows up in California, that's not going to be a win for me. And that's also going to sully how I feel about Google. So Google's really in the business of helping me to find things as quickly as possible. So all that means is that for business owners, for entrepreneurs, for leaders and marketing professionals, is it's kind of on us to not just do great work, but also be able to communicate that work in Google's own language so that it understands what's going to show up. So that's what, I can obviously dig down a little bit deeper, but that's a little bit about what SEO is about, optimizing your website so that Google understands what it is, so that eventually those people that are searching for can find what they're looking for as well.
Okay. So do you have any tips for like someone like me? So I just guesstimate the keywords. I just throw them in there. And so how would I go and like research like the best ones to actually do my website if I was looking for that?
I think one of the best things that you can do is, first of all, not spend time probably actually Googling things and going into things, is actually probably having conversations with, if you have clients, asking them what types of things or what made them decide to work with you, or what types of things that they looked for and things like that. I think sometimes we forget, like, the data and information is of course important. There's definitely tools out there you can go and just search through Google, but we forget that the data is a result of how people are acting, what they're searching for, what they're doing. So I have conversations with clients because when you understand that, if you are, a paid ad specialist and people are asking what's the difference between Google ads and Facebook ads, that in and of itself might be something really valuable that you can create, so that you can create on your site, so that when people are searching, especially locally, it can rank and show your page. So it's really, I think, definitely having those conversations. But there's definitely tools that you can go through to search. There's, of course, Google AdSense is AdWords, I'm sorry, which is actually a paid ad, but it also can be used to find different search terms. But also, one of the really cool things that is very low tech is you can simply go to google.com and literally type in what your business is, and what your business does, the product or services. And what you'll start to see is that often Google will start to autocomplete the things that you're searching for. And when it starts to autocomplete those things, it's doing it because a lot of people are searching for it. So that in and of itself gives you, specific keywords, but even potentially something called long tail searches, which you can also do as well. So there's a lot of like different tools that you can use out there. There's WooRank and a lot of like keyword tools as well too. Will actually give you some ideas. But there's SEMrush, which is a little bit more of a pricier option.
Mm.
But there's a lot of tools out there that can help you to do that. But just understand that, and understand one of the biggest, I think, misconceptions that people have is that they try to rank for their business name rather than rank for what they do. The way that I think is the best way to leverage SEO is, think about people that don't know who you are and don't know that you exist. They're probably not going to happen upon your website. If somebody has your business card, they're probably going to type it in and go there. Think about people that are searching for that, and think about like how they're searching for that. What are the keywords are they doing? Are they saying I need more visibility? I don't understand, Google ads. What are those questions that they're asking? Because that's really going to be that opportunity. It's not to say your business name isn't important. It's just that typically you're not going to have that many people competing with you in your business name. So usually it's a little bit easier to rank for that. You really want to rank for those solutions that you're providing more than anything else.
Mm. Oh, that's a really good tip. I never even thought about it like that. I was ranking for, like the basics. I never thought of maybe typing in, one-to-one is a big thing with my clients because they don't want to deal with these big agencies. They get sick of being stuck in call centers or not speaking to the same guy. And that's very much, they come to me after having had that experience. So I never even thought of like putting one-to-one service. It's just me. I have like 6 clients maximum at any given time, to live the life I want and have the business chugging over. So you get me like whenever you want. They call me and they one of my clients is coming to like Vegas we're going for dinner, that kind of stuff, so it's very, very chill, very easy going. So I never even thought of putting that in my SEO. So that's a huge tip. Like, I think that will be a penny drop for a lot of people. And so website optimization, we were talking in the green room. Now I obviously help my clients with website optimization too. It's something we work on week to week if we're directing traffic there. I'd love to hear it from your perspective. Like, what would you say, like the key takeaways of a conversion website, not just a placeholder website? What are those?
Yeah, you said takeaways from a conversion website.
Yeah. Like, what are your main points that you see people typically the mistakes they make and what people should focus on if they're trying to, because most people set up a website to look pretty. They don't set it up for conversions. I come along and go, oh, no, we don't need that. We need move this, do that, do that. And they're like, whoa, this is a left field, but to get conversions is very different from being pretty. So I want to get your take as a professional at it of what you'd say like the main things are that you see people making mistakes on and how they can improve their websites.
Yeah, I think you alluded to it. It ends up looking, pretty over actually, serving that goal. And I think when people start out with any type of marketing, you should really understand like what you're trying to do. What is a conversion? And I think also like even drilling down from there, understanding what a conversion can mean. What does your marketing, process, or what does that journey look like for your clients and customers? So for Google, for example, so if we're looking purely like let's just say from an SEO standpoint, that means somebody organically is asking for a very specific thing that you're looking for. So I'll just kind of run with the one-to-one that people are potentially looking for. What things might they be, frustrated by? Things that you just said is like getting passed around in my agency. How do I find someone that I can work with? One individual. These are different searches, and what you can do is you can create pages on your website. They could be blogs, they could be pages themselves. The difference that I would say that might be from like advertising is that it's probably going to be a little bit more content heavy than it might be in an advertisement. But probably what isn't different is you want to have that conversion be something. That conversion can be everything from downloading an ebook that takes you through maybe the process of what you do and exactly how you create that relationship with your clients and how you're on call and you're always there. Or it could be simply to schedule a consultation, no cost consultation and no strings attached, whatever that might be. But you really want to think about like how you can take that content and information and trying to drive that individual towards whatever it is. So you want to have that, I think, very high up on the site and very visible. A lot of times, especially if you have a lot of content on the site, you don't necessarily want to have it all the way, at the bottom. And the phrase that they use that kind of comes from the newspaper industry is below the fold. So you want to have it higher up on the website so people don't have to necessarily scroll down to make sure that they're finding it. But I would definitely say, have that call to action there and test out exactly what that experience is going to be. One other kind of tip that's within that is there's two tools that are completely free that you can use. Google Analytics, which basically just lets you know how people are interacting on your website, how to start to drill down into all that information. So that's going to help if it's converting well. But I think the one that's actually going to help out the most if they're clicking on the buttons and or any other type of conversions that you have is you can install something called Google Tag Manager. And that's going to allow you to understand like how people are interacting on the page on your website. Are they clicking on that button? Are they actually filling out that form that has the free ebook? So I think those are the biggest things when you're thinking about conversions and what's do because one of the biggest things that I go back to when I talk about SEO is about user experience, and part of that user experience is for it to look good. So I wouldn't say you want it to look terrible, but at the same time you don't want to sacrifice it looking cool, it having it doing flips and tricks and all these things. That's going to sacrifice you getting the conversions that you need. You just want to make sure that you're talked about before, and you want to make sure it looks good while doing that, but you don't want to make sure, especially around something like page speed, you don't want to make sure that it's sacrificing things like page speed, because that's going to hurt your rankings, going to hurt your conversions, and at the end of the day it's just going to hurt your sales. And the reason that user experience is so important is because what SEO is really helping people to find what they're looking for as quickly as possible. So some of those things that can take away from user experience is if you design your website to look really, really nice and really, really cool, but it doesn't actually help and provide value to the people that you're trying to serve. So it could do flips, it could do tricks, it have all the animations and all those things, but it sacrifices page speed. It loads so slow for people to actually find what they're looking for. that's not something that you want to do. You want to really think about, and if you're able to basically prioritize that higher than sometimes it looking good, and don't get me wrong, you don't want it to look bad, but you want to make sure that you're prioritizing you getting that information and getting that value there, helping create a button that people can call you directly or fill out the ebook, whatever that conversion that you want to track and want to see come to fruition. That's what you really want to focus on more than anything else, and that's what it means, coming back to user experience.
Mm. Yeah, page speed is one of the things a lot, especially when I have to work with developers who build fancy, pretty landing pages for people. And I come in and I'm like, oh, it's got a four-second page speed. It's like no one's ever going to stay on there to even wait for it. So I have to go trim it down and do this and that and like streamline it before we can launch. Page speed is everything, people. Same thing with a Shopify store. Apparently, Shopify stores are, and this is probably why people find it hard to sell on them. Shopify stores are traditionally very, very slow because of the amount of code they have in them. And I just had this, like one of my clients had to get like a designer in to try and speed it up. And even then, I'd say like it's a 3-second page load. It's pretty slow. So, it's the bane of our life. Page speed, definitely one to consider. And that's like keeping it simple helps with that a lot when you're building this kind of stuff and not having videos and whatnot on it. So we were also talking about like you do a lot of blogging and you put a lot of content out there. This is obviously like around the SEO. So the more words you get out there, I assume. Tell me a bit about that. Tell me how that works and how that feeds into your ecosystem with SEO.
Yeah, well, and I appreciate you bringing up, that about Shopify. Like, I think a lot of people don't realize, like we were talking, before we started about these commercials that people see. It's Shopify, Wix, Weebly, Squarespace, all these DIYs that are so easy to get done. Keep in mind that you are also sacrificing on, sometimes, page speed is the biggest thing because developers can't necessarily access the files on the site because they're website builders. They're meant to mass produce. I have this blog that I wrote, and I said why your website builder is a lot like McDonald's cheeseburger. And while McDonald's cheeseburger is good and it can fill you up for some period of time, it's meant to mass produce. They want to create and make more and more and more of those. So you're not going to have that ability to kind of break through the noise that you would have if you had something a little bit more custom built. So I appreciate you bringing that up and how big and huge that is. But really around content, I usually say, and I'm like the king of metaphors and analogies. I say SEO and pages and posts on your website, content on your website is a lot like sticky paper. The more sticky paper you have, generally speaking, the more likely you are for people to find those pages on your website. One of the things that people don't realize is that when people do a very specific search, they're more than likely not going to show up on the homepage of your website. They're probably going to show up on one of these inner pages, maybe even a blog on your site because it's more specific. And that's what Google wants to do. They don't want you to have to sift through each page of the website to find what you're looking for. They want you to find it as quickly as possible and move on to the next thing, take whatever action is needed. So if you really think on a very kind of simplistic way, go up. But I do want to say this because what a lot of people will do is they will take, especially I see it with a lot of service-based businesses, your plumbers, your HVAC contractors, these service-based businesses, is they'll take a page on their website and they'll literally just copy the content and create more and more pages and only change potentially the city and state. Do not do that. That will hurt your rankings. That will hurt the overall user experience. So make sure as much as possible you can try to create unique experience, unique content that's on every page of the website. I would even gather to say if you don't have that unique content, do not create the page of the website. Other things that people don't realize overall. But I think, again, I would say the more content, generally speaking, the better. But also realize when we talk about user experience, it's not just having 1,000 words and nothing else there. You want to break up that content. You want to put in your call to actions. You want to have maybe a video and embed it there and have that video embedded from like YouTube or Vimeo or someplace else so that it's not actually loading on the site, so that doesn't affect page speed. Have pictures and images. So you want to create a kind of a media rich environment, creating more things that are loading that are going to sacrifice the overall speed of the site. So it's definitely, not just throwing things in there. It's being very strategic, um, and methodical with the way that you're creating, for Google, but also for the people that are searching on Google and the search engines as well.
Yeah, methodical. I think when most people design their website like for the first time, they don't get someone else to build it. They don't have a method behind it. I'd say it's like make it look pretty. They don't really know what they're doing. And then even then, we've had someone build it. I come along and it's like, oh, now we're going to ads. We need to change some stuff and change the wording based on what the ads have told them. So it's like ever evolving. I feel like websites are. I think I've redone mine like 4 times already. Every time the business like moves up a level, I'm like, oh, I have to like pretty it up, make it better, tidy it, move some more things around, add videos, like you said.
Yeah, we're definitely speaking the same language. I'm definitely that person as well. And I think that's the another big thing is that people just like, it's like we're adding, we're testing this out, we're trying this out. Okay, we realize we don't like this client, so we don't want to work with them. We want to attract more of this client. Oh, we don't want to do that service anymore, or
Yeah.
it just evolves and changes. So I think we have to kind of remind ourselves of that. It's always a work in progress.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I was definitely attracting people on the same level as me in the beginning. And then as I level up, it's like I have to level everything up. And then as I'm ready to level up again, I have to level
Yeah,
up. It's like
exactly.
college, but it's like swimming uphill, You're always
Exactly.
going. Yeah. Well, awesome, man. This has been super cool. I'm glad we got to talk a little about websites. You got any other thoughts for us or viewers or any interest in stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is, I love everything you're doing, Ruth. I think we do find people, as much as possible, that have and connect with a lot of other, people that are in the business. Not only does that sharpen the saw, but I think it helps to make sure that you as a client are getting what you actually need. I don't want to say like all people that are we do everything or all bad agencies or bad people, but you want to be very wary just because you want to make sure that the person is putting you in the best place to succeed. And often, we hear buzzwords. We hear that we need to be doing this. We hear that we need to be doing that. You need to do TikTok. You need to do, Instagram. You need to do stories. All these things that when you talk to an actual professional that has those relationships, has those connections, they'll make sure to first of all understand if that's what you really need. But secondly, they could usually refer you to people that actually can help you to succeed if that's the right thing that you're looking for. Because often people are just looking for more visibility and more opportunities and more leads. I don't want to say they don't care as much about like what ingredient or tool that you're using, but at the end of the day, that's what they're looking for. And that's why I love everything you're doing, because it helps people to make sure that you're putting them in the best place to succeed. So thank you for allowing me to be a small part of this.
Oh no, that's wonderful because I'd love to be able to point them in this direction too. So the whole point is like, hey, we did a whole podcast on why websites are important because sometimes I feel like I'm trying to teach somebody and they heard from somebody like my client today. She's like, my social media guy told me you don't have funnel ads. And I'm like, the whole freaking thing is a funnel. What are you talking about? Like they get these ideas from somewhere and
Exactly.
they have like no
Exactly.
concept and they're like, well, I should be on Instagram. Like the ads are on Instagram. It's Facebook and Instagram at the same time. I'm considering taking them off Instagram because they're not doing that well. They're somewhere else. And they're like, oh,
Right.
so this is like now I can be like, this is why websites are important and funnel them back here and be like, watch this guy. He knows what he's talking about. And he's basically repeating what I am. So this is why it's
There you
awesome
go.
being able to
There
collaborate.
you go. We're speaking the same language.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's been awesome having you on, man. I really appreciate it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no, I appreciate you, Bruce.
give me your websites or any freebie downloads or any places we will put the links below for Blue 16 Media. But tell us anyway, just if you've got anywhere you want to send anybody or any social media you want to bump and so they come find you if they're looking for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have my hands in a lot of different things, but I have a very, very simple landing page that you can find, most of everything that I'm working on. It's iamgresh.com, iamgresh.com. That has links to Blue 16 Media, has a link to my podcast as well too, and CB Nation and all the awesome things that we're doing to help support entrepreneurs and business owners. And again, I truly appreciate you for giving me some time and some space and excited about future opportunities.
Yeah, same. Thanks so much, hon.